Alright, 802 Garage. I've been inside long enough today. Had to do some editing, but now I want to go out and work on something. I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed because, I'm going back to school earlier than I thought, mid-August. And so I really only have basically a month left to work on these cars. Definitely won't get everything done I wanted to, but I just got to keep going, you know what I mean? So for today, just because it's what I feel motivated to do, I think I'm going to try to diagnose the MR2 no start condition just to see if that engine is worth saving or if I should go directly to planning to swap it. So no matter what, in the future I would love to do the SR20 swap on it, but if I can get it running for now, that would just be awesome. The Eclipse is calling my name. You can see it right over there. So I'm definitely going to be working on that, maybe even later today. But for right this second, I want to work on this little beauty right here, just to see why that engine does not run. So I'm going to get on it. Well, I'm glad that opened right up. It was being kind of a pain the other day, so I'm in here lubing all this right now. This is kind of an interesting trunk release way over here, and this part is what's sticky. So it's actually just runs right here, and then there's a bar that goes the whole way down. So I'm going to lube this up nice and good. The main reason I'm in this trunk is I just need to plug the computer back in before it'll even bother to try to run. So going to do that real quick. I also do still have to paint all these rust spots. Alright, I lubed that all up, and I went to investigate. The previous owner had told me that the key was stuck in the ignition because you couldn't get it back from here. It was stuck. And so I lubed it a little bit, and then I realized there's a little button over here. You push that, and then it comes out. So I'm not exactly sure why that is the way that it is, but it's normal. It comes back out every time. So, whatever, got the key out, and you can see there's quite a bit of play in it, probably from the previous idiots trying to force it out. But yeah, it comes out, so I'm happy about that. Man, I love this interior. I do need a shift knob so bad, though. If anybody out there wants to send me a shift knob, oh, these throws just feel so chunky and good. I want this thing to run. As per usual with me, I think I may get distracted and throw these windshield wipers on just to make sure I don't end up scratching the windshield. You can see this old one has simply seen better days. Really crackly. Looks like it was a cheapie also. I will clean the windshield before I put these down too. And this is the one that's like ultra garbage. At least, even if these are the cheapest windshield wipers money can buy, they come with like a super easy open package. It is hot out here. Alright. Yeah, you can see they just don't like have the proper clearance. Like these brackets are too fat, so they're just hard to put on. They actually scrape off a little bit of the plastic, but once they're on, they're on. So I'm gonna clean up the windshield real quick. Here's the really bad wiper, by the way. Just completely missing the blade. Peeled right off. So, that's good. As is a usual distraction for me on this channel, I got really hungry. So I went on an 8, and then I came out to air up these tires. And I just found a really cool spider I wanted to show y'all, but it looks like he hid away. Oh, there he is. Now watch this. Let's see if I can... Oh, don't know where he went, but hopefully you saw that. Jumped right under my glove, then jumped the other way. These little jumping spiders are like acrobats. They're so cool. Got another video one somewhere. Alright, back to work. poking around and I already knew there was a rust spot here. It's a little bit worse than I thought, but what I'm going to do for now is just take a grinder to it to get off all the paint, because that just traps water and makes it rust faster. And then I'm going to, I don't know, I'll probably hit it with some rust converter first, and then I'll spray some of that WD-40 on it that keeps the moisture away. A little bit of rust down here too, you know. The car has been, you know, repainted and rust fixed, and it'll need it again someday, but nothing too crazy. There is another spot up here, but I really don't feel like poking at that there right now. It's not as bad as this one. Will need to be addressed someday. Again, this car is not perfect, but it's actually probably in the best shape of any car I own. Alright, I'm going to call that good. Put on 3 coats. Sprayed some inside of there. Sprayed some down there just to give it more of a chance. Before winter, I'll have to make sure I patch that so that it doesn't just corrode to hell in there. You know, keep getting sidetracked. 2 engine diagnosing. P.S. It's dumb for me to even bother with that, because I'll almost definitely have to cut out from about here to here to put in a little patch, but the whole point is just to prevent rust for now. I did open up the engine bay and kind of just blow it out. There was tons of dust and some spider webs and whatnot. So now I just got to throw in a battery and turn it over now that the computer's plugged in and see what happens. This is the battery I bought for the Eclipse, and I just had it on the charger to make sure it was 100%. Alright, and I have checked the coolant and the oil in this previously, and I did put some gas in it at some point, some premium, I think. So I personally don't think it's getting spark or fuel. I think something electronic is disabling it, which leads me to believe it's either a crankshaft position sensor or the timing belt or something along those lines, or no computer signal. But I'm going to try just checking if it gets spark first. Alright, so the plan here is I have one of these plugs. They left 3 of these plugs in the engine bay because they compression tested this once upon a time, and then allegedly it came up bad, so they just left the plugs out and let water get in the engine, so now the compression is probably worse than ever. Anyway, got these plugs. I just cleaned this one up because it was all rusty. The plan right now is to see if I get spark by simply using, gross, one of the spark plug wires, plugging in the plug, finding somewhere to get a good ground on it, and then seeing if when I turn over the engine, if it sparks at all. Alright, I'm even going to close the hood most of the way to get better darkness. Alright, I'm going to have to watch that footage back, see if there's anything. Alright, so as you can clearly see from that footage, we do have spark, which tells me 2 things. 1, the distributor and the rotor are probably okay, and 2, the timing belt is most likely okay, because I believe it would disable spark if the timing belt was bad. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the timing isn't off, but for right this moment, just to diagnose, I'm going to assume that we have spark, but not fuel. It could be that this engine cuts fuel due to another problem like the timing belt, and not spark. But now I'm going to check if the car has fuel. Just for gits and shiggles, I am going to check the fuses real quick, since I learned from the Cadillac, sometimes it actually is a fuse problem. Hey, the fuse puller's still there. That is so rare. Those big towers are fan, EFI, and Eng, and ST on the end. Engine main relay right here. Apparently headlamps, AM1 and heater. Man, they put some hefty fuses in these things. Must not be very energy efficient. Hazard lights and radio, vent fan. So EFI is this 15 amp fuse here, engine 10 amp, and charge 5 amp. So I really don't know what all those are. This one looks fine. Just going to give them a visual inspection real quick, and then I'll get out my multimeter. This one looks perfectly fine. Terminals are pretty dirty. This one looks perfectly fine. You know, I have no idea how to check if these are good. I'm not sure if these are a type of relay. Looks like they are from that diagram there. A switch with a bigger thing, so must be some kind of relay. I'm guessing this one was replaced at some point, so I can look into checking those if I suspect them later. But for right this second, I'm going to assume that all these are good. Maybe get back to it if I need to. So first thing I'm going to do to check if I have fuel is just to see if the fuel pump is turning on. Now, I believe the tank runs down the center of this car, so I'm probably going to put the camera right underneath there and listen for it. Alright, well, all I heard up here was the car buzzer, so I'm going to see if the phone picked up anything. Well, I really didn't hear a fuel pump running on video, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull one of these lines, probably just the return line because it looks easiest, and see if I have fuel coming out. Alright, so I'm going to disconnect this return line. And considering no fuel dripped out of the line, I think that probably points to not having any fuel. 1/4 inch it is. And I get this nifty window washer container. So now y'all can watch and tell me if any fuel comes out. To me, looks like I'm not getting any fuel. I don't even smell fumes. So I don't think the fuel pump is running. I'm going to try to jumper the fuel pump, which I believe there's a way to do in the engine bay, and see if that gets me fuel. So the AW11 MR2 comes with this nifty little diagnostic box. Flip up the cover, it's got little labels in there. And so I need to jumper FP and plus B apparently. So I'm assuming that's fuel pump and positive from battery. So that's these two. So I'm going to try to jumper those and see if I get any fuel. Well, it is starting to rain, which will hopefully pass quickly, but I'm going to try to do this real quick before I go in for a little. Well, I'm getting nothing from that. I did try to go directly to the positive on the battery and also got nothing. Not a great sign. Well, the rain didn't last super long, so I'm going to get back at this. I didn't have the car turned to on when I tried the jumper before, so I'm going to try turning it to on just to see if that helps, although none of the instructions I saw online said that it was supposed to be, so I don't think it's going to make a difference. Alright, the ignition is in the on position. I sanded the tips of these wires real quick just to make sure corrosion isn't an issue. And now let's see. You can see I'm getting a little spark. So I have a connection. But the fuel pump, no go. I can also jumper these and get error codes, but I don't know what good that'll do me. I'll try jumping directly to the battery again. I'll try to see if I can show you that. So there, should just barely be able to see both. Probably here. See, I'm getting sparks. Fuel pump isn't running. Or at least I'm not getting any fuel. I also noticed that the throttle cable was sticky as hell when I pushed the gas pedal in the car. So I'm just going to try to loosen that up real quick. This stuff tends to evaporate fairly quickly, the PV blaster, so I'm not too worried about it. I'm just going to need to buy some more because I love this stuff. A lot of play in this too. That's not going to be good for throttle response feel. So I'll fix that sometime. So I just went into the front trunk just to see what's going on in here. I wanted to see if the throttle cable protruded into here to see if there's another spot I could lube. And some interesting automotive archaeology. Here are the spark plugs they bought. NASCAR Performance copper plugs, which are totally not right for this car. Came with double platinums, and this is the ISO standard instead of the JIS standard. Oh no, this must be one of the originals. NGKR. Still copper, so still not the right plug, but MkI. And this also has the battery connector on it that's broken, so they replaced that. Oh, there's a couple plugs in here. Oh, so maybe all the MkIs are in here. So I found more plugs for the car. Ooh, I'm sorry, BB. Hopefully I did not scratch it. Yep, bunch of plugs. Feels like 4 total. And the igniter assembly, which they apparently replaced, which is nice because I think this is a fairly expensive part. And they were probably trying to get it running. But since I'm getting spark, either that worked or it never needed to be replaced in the first place and they're dumb. And here's this little fuse box cover. Doesn't look like any of those would need to be replaced, but I may go ahead and check all the fuses with my multimeter pretty soon anyway, so I'm assuming this thing keeps falling off. There you go, clipped in. Looks like it'll stay. So anyway, just some interesting factoids. They tried the plugs, they tried an igniter, they replaced the battery cable. Yeah, also this radiator looks a little grungy, but nothing that says it shouldn't work just fine. Also interesting, it's vertical fin, horizontal bar. So that's kind of interesting too. At some point a snake decided to use this to shed. They love to do that. Cars that sit for a long time, they'll use the engine bay and all the little intricate parts to peel off their skin. Gotta clean this out too. Luckily it's not a lot of car to clean. Also funny, if you look at these plugs that they took out, they're basically brand new. So you would think when they pulled the first one, they would have said, oh, well, it's not the plugs. But no, went ahead and put all the auto lights in anyways. I have a full set of the proper MkI with the JIS, the Japanese specification for this car. Anyways, right now what's in it is the MkI Platinums that are normal for the SR20 or like a lot of other Japanese cars. Not quite right for the Eclipse though, because those are slightly different for a turbo car, but they're basically the Platinums that go in a lot of NA Japanese cars. Alright, well we tried some dumbass ways to get fuel in the rail, but without pressure, I don't think those injectors are feeding, even if they're pulsing. I suppose I could pull the cold start injector and see if it's pulsing. But given that there's spark, but I'm not getting any fuel in the rails, even with the jumper, I think I'm just going to pull the pump and test it manually. Then that'll give me a 100% certain answer on that. Alright folks, so that's going to be it for today. I have returned the MR2 back to the way that it was before I started. I'm about 90% confident that that fuel pump is just completely shot, because when I'm jumpering it, it is sparking, which means power is going somewhere, but the fuel pump definitely was not making any noise. I wasn't getting any fuel. So to me, that seems like kind of a no-brainer, but I could still be wrong. My plan, no matter what, is probably to pull the fuel pump tomorrow. I believe to do that, I have to drop the tank, but I don't think it takes very long or is super complicated. There's like a shroud, the tank runs down the middle of the car. I believe. I saw Boosted Boys do it on a Mark II MR2. Mine's the Mark I, but I think it's a similar process. And then I will be able to bench test the fuel pump, maybe clean it out or whatever, or just replace it. I will still be working on the Eclipse soon, and no matter what, I need to edit the transmission removal video before I actually put it back in. So you guys will be seeing more of the Eclipse soon. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it was a little bit educational if you haven't done troubleshooting on a car that isn't starting before. Obviously, I didn't get it running yet, but I think I will soon. So I will still compression test it regardless of if I get it running or not, but I'll show you that when I do it. Just came out here to film a little extra and scared the raccoon. No, it's already gone. There was also like a bat out here, scared the crap out of me. At any rate, I just wanted to come out and say, if any of you have differing opinions on old problem with the MR2 over there, especially you, Driving for Answers. I know you know a lot more about these cars than me. Everybody go watch Driving for Answers channels. He's got an AW11 that looks a lot like mine, except his, well, it did run. He's fixing it again. Anyways, it's awesome. Check out Driving for Answers. If any of you have differing opinions, please let me know. Thank you. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. Appreciate it. Thank you for sticking with me through the Long Island trip. I know it wasn't super exciting in terms of cars, but I did the best that I could. Appreciate y'all. I'll catch you soon on 802 Garage.